Thanks. Good. Okay. Just if you'd like to learn more about Unity teachings, there's a wide variety of materials that are available, both on Unity Ottawa and Unity Kitchener video libraries and YouTube. So if you need to learn more about that, you can contact the offices of either. Now we can move on. It is time to greet and meet our guest speaker for today, Reverend Pami Parker, who is going to be talking to us about the gift of awakening. So welcome, Reverend Pami.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel like I've been to church already. So
yes,
my heart is already so full. And so peace be with you and peace be still.
Thank you.
Let's begin by allowing for a peaceful presence to fill our bodies, infuse our minds, and enliven our spirits. And with this peaceful presence, I would like to invite you to take a moment to remember the gifts of awakening, of the peaceful moments in your life. So if you feel comfortable, let's just take this moment right now and gently close your eyes and bring into your mind's eye those first moments when you awakened into the peaceful presence of your human experience. What were those first moments when you awakened into the peaceful presence of your human experience? And as you allow yourself to awaken into these first moments of peaceful presence, connect with the sensations that may have also awakened within you. Perhaps there was a sense of touch, a sense of sound, a sense of smell, a sense of taste, and perhaps a sense of sight. Allow yourself to visit with the freshness of this peaceful moment. Your peaceful moment. And as you do, ask yourself, what are the gifts that are here for you to receive within this peaceful moment? What is here for you to know? What is here for you to love? What is here for you so that you may carry these gifts of peaceful presence with you forevermore? And as these answers come to you, simply be with them for a few moments right now. Honor them. For these gifts of this peaceful presence is for you, your family, your friends, your community, and even for the world. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and come back to our meeting space. And you know, the memory that came up for me when I was thinking about this, of my very first peaceful awakening. It occurred when I was about 14 months old. And the gifts of this memory of my first peaceful awakening was about, well, it was about a time in which my family camped on a beach. For the first 6 years of my life, my family camped on a beach in New England and the United States called Plum Island. And all summer long, we would be on the beach and we'd be camping. And the memory that I have of my first peaceful awakening was, I remember feeling like the sand kind of like a little bit on my face, on my blanket, and then I think a little bit in my diaper, maybe. It was awakening into it. And I remember tasting like I think it was the salt in the sand and the smell of the clam flats and the fresh seaweed because it was low tide. And then there was the sound of the roar of the ocean and the beat of the conga drum that my father was playing as he and my mother were sweetly singing around the campfire. And then there was my mother's laugh. Her laugh, her laugh was a gift to the universe. The joy and the love that she experienced in those special moments was truly sacred. And throughout my life, I've carried the gift of her laugh. And especially since most of her life was incredibly painful and sad.
Mm.
In fact, she died by suicide. And yet, and yet, the vibration of her laugh lives on and it continues to live within me. And it always will be her gift to me. That peaceful moment is the gift that keeps on giving over and over again. And my wish and my prayer for you is that you also have a space within your heart that you can carry a peaceful moment that you can call up, and even in your most hardest of times. And so you may want to share your peaceful moments with others that you meet today after the service, or maybe not, but that might be a topic of conversations. But meanwhile, I have a question, or maybe it's a couple questions, and they go like this. Have you ever wondered why God made you the way that you are, with the unique talents and abilities that you possess? Why did Spirit choose to give you these gifts? It's a question that can really lead us down a path of profound discovery. Yeah. Imagine a tool perfectly crafted, designed for a specific purpose, yet left unused in a toolbox. It's not that the tool is broken or inadequate, it simply hasn't been put to use. And in many ways, we are like that tool, aren't we? Each of us has been born into this human experience with gifts, gifts not to be tucked away or overlooked, but to be actively used for their highest good. And I want you to think for a moment, what is something you are really good at? Something that comes naturally to you. Maybe you're great at listening to others. That's a gift. Or you can fix just about anything. I want to meet people with that gift. Or you are the one who can always make people smile. Oh gosh, don't we know some of those people? Or maybe no matter how tough things get, they always make you smile. You ever notice, you know those people? Maybe you're one of those people. But here's where it's getting intriguing. What happens when those gifts, those unique gifts God has entrusted to us, lie dormant? What causes them to remain unutilized, gathering dust in the corners of our lives? Is it fear, uncertainty, or perhaps a lack of understanding of their true purpose? We get busy, life gets tough, or maybe we just don't think we're good enough to use those tools, to use those gifts until life happens. And sometimes life happens hard, doesn't it? And it feels like the universe is hitting us with a cosmic 2x4, perhaps a loss of a job, financial instability, a relationship, a breakup, addictions, infertility, death of a loved one, just some of the many different realities that may cross our paths in our lives. And where are the gifts of awakening into those life experiences? So, I'd like to share a little bit of a personal story of, um, my dad and my family coming together, just to give you a taste of how it could be possible. And it's pretty fresh in my mind. Last fall, my I got a phone call. I'm here in Amsterdam. All of my family is in New England in the United States, and my dad was 89 years old at the time, and he was in the hospital, and he had fallen. He had been found fallen, and he was at literally at death's door. I'm 3,500 miles away, and my family is back in New England, and everyone's running around not quite knowing what to do. And so, what was interesting about that moment is that as I hopped on a plane and I raced to New England to be with my family, I quickly recognized that not everyone in my family was seeing the situation exactly the way that I was seeing the situation. There were the facts, and there were the medical facts, and there were the unknown medical facts, which were even more scary. But how we were coming to the situation was from very different places. Some of you may realize this. I have one brother who is 15 years younger than myself. I have another brother who's 30 years younger than myself, different mothers. And then I have a sister who's 5 years younger than myself. So we all come from these different places and each with our different gifts. And the long story short of around this is that the blessing is my dad came through it was a medical miracle. He came through. He was no longer able to live independently, unfortunately. And so we had to really figure out what's next. And so we all came to it. Myself, I came to it from a place. I'm a great administrator. I'm a great organizer. I can put things together and put things together one, two, three. And the rest of my family can't do that. So that was my job. That was my gift I brought to it. My sister she's the kind of like the worry wart, but she's the loving, caring, compassionate warrior that just, you can feel it from the depth of her soul that everyone just really came to that place of compassion each time she came into the room and brought us her presence. My brother Nicholas, who is 30 years younger, he's actually disabled, but somehow he rose above all of his disabilities, and he was able to he's very funny, he has a great sense of humor, and so he brought his humor into the situation. And then my brother Jamie, 15 years younger, he's the one who had the largest home in which we were able to bring my father into, and thank goodness, I mean, he was able to bring my father into his home, and he and his wife to care take for them and to be able to make sure that he was fed and clothed and cared for, and with all of us together, and it took a village. We all brought our gifts to it in all these different ways, and without any one of us, we never would have been successful in those moments. And so perhaps you have also experienced those moments in your life where you had to really depend on others and others' gifts in order for full success and healing to come into those moments. So finding the gifts in life's adversaries can be difficult. I know. And yet a willingness to shift one's mindset can be extremely helpful. When I think about this, having to shift one's mindset in order to be able to see the gift and to see the prize, I'm reminded of the story of the two monks that were tasked to clean the horse stalls. Do you know it? Well, maybe some of you know it. It goes something like this. It's a really short but cute story. And there are many different versions of it, I'm sure. But once upon a time, there were two monks, and they were asked to go and muck and clean the stalls and to go and clean out the barn. And it was a really hot day. And I know that those of you in Canada right now have experienced some very hot days lately. So you can just imagine like the hot, humid air and going into a barn, and it's sticky and it's smelly and there's manure everywhere, this big pile of manure, and this hay, and the hay is sticking into the skin and is sweating. And so there's like one monk is just like he's just can't stop talking about how awful the situation is. And you know what? The other monk, I just immediately upon entering the barn, just started shoveling the manure and shoveling the manure with a smile and a step and a pep and a step and a zeal and a squeal and all of everything that Charles Fillmore has taught us. And then some, and he's just singing and so happy. And the other monk who's just can't stop looking at all the negative side of the situation of having to clean out this barn. Just it's like, what are you like so excited about? What's making you so happy? And that the other monk says, well, with all of this manure, there's gonna be a pony under here somewhere. And I love that story. I love that story because, if you've noticed that, there seems to be a lot of resistance to the world, in the world today to be awakened to the gifts of others and who we are different from ourselves. The resistance to accepting the gifts of those who are different from us, those of us who are different by gender, those of us that are different by race, those of us that are different by sexual orientation, those of us that are different by culture, those of us that are different by belief system. And there's so many more differences. Yeah. So, how do we awaken to the gifts of those who we see as different from us? And as lunatics, we embrace the principle that there is one presence and one power active in our lives, God, the good, omnipotent. And sometimes it takes practice to see these gifts. There's so much of our human experience that may have told us otherwise. And yet, with practice, we can do this. We can practice love, compassion, and gratitude. So, once again, I'd like to invite you to dedicate this moment to gently awakening to the gifts of those who we see as different from us. And if you feel it to be comfortable for you, gently close your eyes. And as you do, bring to your mind's eye a person of a different gender from your own. And as you bring to your mind's eye this person who's of a different gender from your own, surround them with loving light. And in your mind's eye, see this person as having gifts, their unique talents, their unique abilities. Look them into the eyes and thank them for sharing their gifts openly. Without them, the world would not be the same. Bring into your mind's eye a person of a different race from your own. Surround them with loving light. And in your mind's eye, see this person as having gifts, their unique talents and abilities. Thank them for being willing to share their gifts. For without them, the world would not be the same. And I'll bring into your mind's eye a person of a different sexual orientation from your own. Surround them with loving light. And in your mind's eye, see this person's gifts, their unique talents and abilities, and thank them for willing to to share these gifts with you and the world. For without them, the world would not be the same. And now, bring into your mind's eye a person from a different culture from your own. Surround them with loving light. And in your mind's eye, see this person's gifts, their unique talents and abilities. Thank them for sharing these gifts. Without them, the world would not be the same. And finally, bring into your mind's eye a person from a different belief system from your own. Surround them with loving light. And in your mind's eye, see this person's gifts, their unique talents and abilities. Thank them for sharing these gifts. But without them, the world would not be the same. There is one presence and one power active in our lives, God, the good, omnipotent. And as we come back together and we choose to awaken our senses to the gifts that are available to us as us, this is the place from which miracles can really happen, can't they? It's not easy. However, when we are willing to accept the gift of what we perceive to be different, we position ourselves to receive it. And in truth, we recognize that there is one presence and one power active in our lives. God, the good, omnipotent, we awaken to a new reality, a reality in which we are here to activate our gifts and integrate these gifts with others. The gift that comes from being willing to awaken and see the gifts in others before they may see our own gifts may require some practice. Let me say that again. The gift that comes from being willing to awaken and see the gifts in others before they may see our own gifts may take some practice. To see the one presence and the one power within others requires that we practice, practice, practice. But oh, friends, the magic that happens when we can be the tipping point by which peace is alivened within the world, may the gifts of your awakening guide you. Peace be with you. Peace be still. And so it is.